about taking our classes online. Something that is very, very important is that we also maintain quality. So my session this afternoon or this morning, rather, I'll be talking about how Edves can help us to take our school online. So we've bundled together some features that will help us all to take our school online, and we've named it Classroom Beyond Walls. So now that schools are home, we need to take our classroom online. So with Edves, you can actually achieve learning even from the comfort of your homes, to your students. So we have a group of modules, and our goal is that schools should be able to continue delivering lectures, test your students, communicate with parents, without having to change your curriculum or your pedagogy. So with Edves, your school can continue online. So now, one of the things we're looking at is video conferencing. This video conferencing tool will help us to be able to achieve live classes. So what we've done is that we've integrated with Zoom so that from Edves, you can invite your students for a live class on Edves. We're actually working on other video conferencing tools that will be making available in the coming weeks so that we'll be able to keep our students engaged. Priority is that we'll be able to have a live class with our students, and then we'll use other tools on Edves to continue the engagement. So this is quite simple. All you need to do is to type in the topic of your live class. You choose the date for your live class, time the live class is going to happen, and then the duration of the live class, maybe 30 minutes for a class. You choose the class you want to invite for that session, the term the students are in, and if you need to invite only a few students to this class, you can actually unpick the students that you want to invite so that not everybody is invited. Maybe you have your students in groups and you just want, just a few number of them to attend the class. Then once you click on create meeting, the system automatically sends the payment link to all the children in that class. Okay, as you can see on my screen. And then looking at the next thing we have is the online homework. Now, of course, by the time you do a live class for your students, even just like we do in the normal classroom, a test or an homework will help us to actually validate if the student actually understand what has been taught to them. So when we've done a live class on Zoom or other tools or other video conferencing tools, which we'll be making available, you need to test your students. You need to be sure if they've actually, understood what you have taught them. So we have an online homework or online assignment tool on Edves where you can create assignments for students in a particular class for a particular subject. And then you can put in the title of it, and then you can type in your assignment here for the student. And of course, using AI as well, if you look towards the right-hand side of my screen, you'll see that the system has automatically brought in some content for me, which I can use to actually form part of my assessment for the student. The good thing is that you can also attach a file or you can attach a link. So you can tell your students to read up a link and answer, assignments that you're giving to them. Or you can attach an image, or you can attach a document, a PowerPoint document, or a PDF document, or maybe a short clip. You just want them to watch and, answer some following questions. And then you can also give a due date to this assignment. So giving a due date will help to ensure that students know the urgency of submitting the assignment. And immediately you create the assignment, a notification is sent to all students in that class, notifying them that there's this assignment that is meant to be done at so-so time and submitted at so-so date. And once the assignment is submitted, there's a student portal where students would be able to engage with their teachers. And from this environment, they can click on the class assignments. Clicking on the class assignments will show them all the assignments that has been given to them by their teachers. The ones that they have submitted will show assignments submitted. Of course, once you've submitted an assignment, you can retrieve it again. And then for assignments that are yet to be submitted, the students can click on the submit button, type in their responses, just like I'm doing. And then if they have a file that they need to attach with the assignment, they can actually choose the file. I was given a session yesterday, and I mentioned that you can actually give, if for instance you're a great teacher, you can give your students an assignment. For instance, if it's for soil type, you tell them that list the different types of soil that we have, and then take a picture of the soil type in your environment, in your compound, and attach to the assignment. So in that case, the students will type in their responses in the column, and then they will take a picture of the soil type in their environment and upload back for you. Or maybe you've told them to plant a flower, and then you want to see how the flower is progressing, every 2 days, or maize, as the case may be. It just depends on how dynamic we can be as teachers with the assignment too, and then the students can submit such an assignment. Now, the good thing is, of course, you'll be asking that when they submit the assignment, how do I have access to this assignment as a teacher? So as a teacher, under the view assignment link, you'll be able to see all the assignments that you've given out over a period of time. You'll be able to see the numbers of students that have submitted. In this case now, I have about 3 students that have submitted the assignment. So if I click on view assignment, it automatically shows me the details of the assignment, what my question was, and it shows me details of what each student had submitted for this assignment. So you can see, I can see the submission of this student, I can see for the next student. If the students have submitted files, I'll be able to see the files that they have submitted. And now, one of the benefits and one of the unique advantages of Edves is the fact that you can easily synchronize your assignment submission, the scores, with the result sheet of your student. So, and that's why we've seen a lot of schools saying, I don't want to use different solutions for different things. I want a solution that can have everything for me. So with the assignment tool, it's easy for you to say, oh, this assignment that has been done is going to form the first year of the student. And then the system automatically gives you a column to be able to input the score of the assignment, and then you can save it. Once you do that, the system automatically slots in the score of the assignment into the grade book or the result sheet of the student. So, it just makes everything seamless for you. Okay. So
okay. Sir.
Yeah.
Okay. You just told us how we can take a class. We can do everything without being in the 4 walls of the classroom successfully. Okay. So my major point that I really want us to dwell on right now is where you talked about having life periods in class. So would schools be able to run the full-time timetable, like when schools were in session after?
Okay. Actually, you agree with me that we will not get the same attention span of students as we normally would get when students are in the school. So I think every school needs to come up with a unique timetable of how they actually want to run their online school. So I can think of 2 examples. You can have a live class on Monday, and then on Tuesday you upload assignments and maybe videos and tests for them to attempt. And then on Wednesday you come back and have a live class. You repeat the same process for Thursday, and on Friday you have an assignment. That can be an example. In fact, even when you are having a live class, obviously we cannot have 6 hours of live class that stretch. Maybe you can do 40 minutes, take a 30-minute break, you come back 40 minutes again. So definitely we cannot have a full, timetable like we would normally do in a regular class or in a regular school session. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, sir. Yes, we can go on. We can go on with other points.
Okay, thank you very much. So I've talked about the video conferencing, scheduling meeting with your students. I've also talked about engaging them with homework, and then of course one very, 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 very useful and important tool, which I know almost every school is interested in, is the idea of engaging your students with videos. So I've seen a lot of schools coming up with videos. Teachers are recording videos to upload for their students to watch. So currently on Edves, we have preloaded some educational videos across different subjects that will help your students to learn outside the classroom, even without your input. And then, of course, we've also made it possible for schools to be able to upload their own video. So you can record yourself, teaching a particular concept and then upload this video. Another very useful thing that this can be useful for is even when you do a live class and you notice that maybe because of internet, some students missed out on the class, you can actually record the class and come back to Edves and upload the video. So that way your students can go back and watch the video for those of them who had internet issues, or those who even missed the class can have the opportunity to watch the video from the beginning to the end. And of course, if you have a video maybe on YouTube or other sources that you've watched and you think will be beneficial to your students, you can actually come in here and put in the title of your video, select the subject for your video, and the class you are uploading the video for as well, the session, and the sharing channel. So another very very unique value proposition.
Sorry to cut you, sir.
Okay.
Coming in from the audience, from few things you have just said earlier, before we move on to other points,
Okay.
they asked what schedule for an online class can be recommended in terms of duration, like how many subjects per day does the online teaching cover?
Okay.
Does the online teaching cover?
Okay, so I think
to answer all questions in one, so that in order not to waste our time,
okay,
does Edves have features that allow the head of department be part of an online class?
Okay.
After marking, do you award marks for assignments and send back to the pupils?
Okay.
The pupils on the assignment as a counselor, that no subject is allocated to how it's possible to send assignments to students and how to reach them too. On assignment as a counselor, that no subject is allocated to how it's possible to send assignments to students and reach them. That is still emphasizing on the question, after marking, how do you award marks to for assignments and send back to people? So we have 3 questions now.
So going to the first question, talking about the schedule, I think that is where the quality control department of the school will come in. But I can say that maybe around 3 classes a day, maybe maximum of 40 minutes per class. And then maybe after the 40 minutes, you can have 1 hour of break. Maybe you can give them some materials to consume. I will also show us other ways we can engage our students. So I would say maybe like 3 classes. Then talking about grading the student, yes, of course, that is what I showed the other time, where you can actually allocate scores based on the submission of a student. So if I've read through the submission of a student, I can actually allocate scores for that student. And remember that Edves also has a feature for online result checking for parents. We have a parent environment where parents can be fed back with the performance of their students. In fact, as a matter of fact, as you give an assignment to your students, their parents will receive a notification telling them an assignment has been given to their work. And when the teacher is done marking the assignment, the teacher can make the scores available on the platform, push it out via a link, via SMS, via email, and via notification on the app, and then the parent can check on the assignment. So we can actually adopt, in this case now, most schools will normally do a midterm result and end of term result. So I think I can also advise that instead of having midterm results this time around, we might also think of updating our parents maybe every week or every 2 weeks. And aside from just telling them about the results, I'm also going to talk about the communication book, where we can actually give an update to the parents on a weekly basis on how their students have been attending class. So talking about the counselor that does not have access to a subject, that is actually dependent on the portal administrator in the school. So the portal administrator would need to assign the privilege for that counselor to be able to do that. So for the counselor, it might not be, I'm asking you define a software or what have you. It might just be some materials that the counselor wants them to read during this period, and the counselor can have a way of grading the students appropriately. Okay, so going back to the video, video is a very, very useful way to also keep our students engaged. Like I said, we have preloaded videos on Edves, and we've also made provisions for you to upload your videos, either a video you've recorded by yourself, or maybe you had a live class and you recorded the video and you want to share it with your students, or you saw a video online, you downloaded it and you want to share with your student. So having filled the form, we have a tool that says that how do you want to share this video with your students? The good thing about this is that once you attach the video and you upload it, the system will automatically send a notification to the student using the channel you have, you have highlighted. So in this case, I said email and SMS. So it will send them a link as an SMS and as an email telling them that, oh, a video has been uploaded for fundamentals of computer studies. Click on this link to view the video. So that way parents and students will just tap on the link and they can watch the video. And in fact, as an educator, I can actually upload a video for my students and tell them that, okay, after watching this video, please visit your assignment panel and answer assignment on, fundamentals of computer studies. So that will also help you to test the rate at which the students have absorbed what they have watched. Now, the next thing is computer-based test. In fact, we're so excited about the computer-based test because within 2 weeks of of shutdown in Nigeria, we were actually, schools on Edves were able to conduct over 5,000 exams in just 2 weeks. Because most schools had not done their exams when the lockdown happened. And, a lot of schools were wondering, how do we do this? We finished teaching the students the curriculum. We're only left to start exam the following week. And, quite a number of schools quickly onto their Edves platform. And, they began to set their questions. And then over 5,000 exams were written in 2 weeks. Now, of course, you agree with me that we're not sure if school is going to resume physically come April 20 or first week in April. So it means that we'll be thinking of how can we, test our students even when we start school online. You will need to test your students, and then you will need to, give them quizzes to do online. So that is where, the CBT tool is going to be useful for us here. So using the CBT tool, as a teacher, you can actually give quizzes, you can give tests, you can give exam, depending, it can be true or false kind of questions, or it can be multiple choice-based questions. So all you need to do in this case is to choose your subject, you choose the results that this exam should be tied to, you enable the exam to show online, you can tell the system to reshuffle the question. So reshuffling the question means that the system will automatically, swap the questions for teachers. So for students. So the option A for student A will be different from option A for student B, and so on and so forth. And then if it is a quiz or a practice question, you can also allow your students to have multiple attempts. But if it's actually a test or an exam, then you don't want them to have multiple attempts. And then you can tell the system to show the score to the students after the exam. The good thing is that the CBT tool can actually be used for various purposes in a school. You can use it for your test, you can use it for quizzes, preparatory exam, you can use it for end of term exam, mid-term exam. And as well, you can use it for entrance exams. So if you have students who are going to be admitted into your school, I'm sure, I know some schools have started, conducting examination now. So, this CBT will also be useful for you to conduct your entrance exam. So you can test them on the platform, and then you can have a live session with them, to do the interview. And that assures you that you can have your students resume by September. So having done this, the next thing you want to do is that you want to add questions to your exam. And for this, we have two options. You can either download an Excel template and input your scores on it to lay your questions, or you can do this online. So doing the exam online, all you need to do is to select the question you want to the exam. You type in your questions. If you have an image, you can attach an image to it at the bottom of the page, or you can paste in your image directly here. You can put in your options. It can be true or false. question, or you can have questions with multiple options. If it's a mathematical question, you can actually have your superscripts and other things. So depending on what the exam is all about. So if it's x raised to power 2, you can achieve that here. Depending, this is more like a Microsoft environment, so you can actually play around things. And then when you're done with your loading your questions, you can actually view your questions as a teacher to be sure that the questions are well typed into the system. It tells you the options you choose as the right options. It tells you questions that have images, and so on and so forth. Then coming to inviting your students to write the exam. So because they're far away, they might not know when, even though you might have sent them a timetable, we've integrated an invite link that will help them to that will help you to shoot out an invite to your students. So you can invite them via SMS, via email, or via SMS and email. So once you do this, your students will receive a notification telling them that, oh, it's time to write a great exam. And then once they tap on that link, it automatically takes them into the exam environment. You don't even need to start, logging in with the admission number or username again this time around. It just automatically takes them in, and then they can start the exam. So now let me quickly show us what.
Okay. Before we round off this section as to what your other points might be, you mentioned online examination, which I know might be the most important and interesting part of all of this. So, how can a school invigilate their students remotely to curb examination malpractice?
Okay, thank you very much. I've actually gotten this question severally over the last 3 weeks, and of course, I know it's very important, but of course, there are ways around things like this. So one of the ways we can achieve this is to record the exam. And the most easiest way we have thought of to record the exam is over a live conference. So, the same way you have a live class and then you can see all your students, maybe you have like 40 students or 25 students in your classroom, and you can see all their faces, as you're talking to them. What we're recommending is when you want to have your exam, invite your students to a live class before starting the exam. So when they're on the live class, they turn on their camera. If they turn on their camera, then they start the exam. Like we can see on my screen now, my exam has started, and now you can see my face. So if I look to the side, trying to talk to someone, you know that I'm talking to someone. If I'm writing an exam, I'm not supposed to talk, right? So if I'm typing, by the time you see me, my eyes is going to one side, or I'm talking, you already know that this guy is about cheating. So, with that, we can actually invigilate our exam remotely. And another thing I think we can also do is that if you will know that ideally it will take 25 minutes for students to answer this question in the physical classroom, you can actually give them 20 minutes so that you don't give them too much time, to try to browse online or to try to talk to someone. And another thing you can also do is that you can actually slot in some difficult questions into the exam. So if you have an exam that is 20 questions, you can actually give them 25 questions. 5 of these questions, you scatter it in between the examination question, and you make sure that they are tough questions that ideally they should not be able to answer. So if they're able to answer those 5 questions, then you know that someone must have helped them. Now, another thing that will be useful for us, I'll come to that in like 2 minutes, is that there's actually a performance analysis that helps us to see how long each student spends writing the exam. So by the time, of course, you are their teacher in the normal classroom, you know their competence level. If you know that this student should be able to finish this exam in 15 minutes, these other students will take like 24 minutes to finish this exam. By the time you view the performance analytics and it's showing you that a student that is supposed to use 15 minutes used 8 minutes for the exam, you already know that something went wrong, during that exam. That means somebody must have helped this person to write the exam. So those are a few ways I can think of. And of course, we're also researching and we'll keep on upgrading the system to ensure that we make it better. Thank you. So now this is a CBT environment for a student. You can see I have my question here. I have the options here. A student can choose an option and click on the next question. You know, read the next question, choose an option, clicks on the next question. You can see this particular question comes with an image. So depending on what the teacher has set for the students, then we have the timer here. So if a student does not finish the exam at the allotted time, the system will automatically submit for the student, and the student cannot come back and write the exam. So far, the teacher has set that the system should not allow multiple attempts. Okay. Let me go back to the CBT. So like I was saying, that when your students submit, there are few analytics you can get from here. One is that you can actually see how many persons attempted each of your questions. So here now you see that 23 people attempted the question, or 23 students, and you have a pass rate. 21 of them got the answer right. Now, in a question whereby you have a high attempt rate and you have a low pass rate, it tells you that students do not understand that question, right? So one of the things we're leveraging on AI for is that those questions that students missed, we can actually use AI to recommend useful material in text and in videos for the students to go back and listen to go back and watch, to go back and read, so that they understand the concept around that. And that is just AI. Part of what I'm supposed to talk about is AI. I've talked about AI when you're giving assignments. We're using AI for lesson plan when teachers are using their lesson plan. And another very key area is for this CBT. So if students have done an exam and they didn't do well, they need to be able to know, oh, I missed it. I thought it was this. But the AI will suggest videos to them that they can watch, teaching them on that particular topic, the concept around that exam or around that question, rather, and also giving them books they can read. So with that, you find out that your students will actually do better. Now, another thing you can do is if a student maybe had internet issue, you can reopen the exam for them. Maybe the system timed out, or for other reasons which we might not have control over. At the moment, you can actually reopen the exam for the students or allow the students to restart the exam. You can view the script of your students. You can see here, it shows me the score of each of my students. So I have their scores listed here. So if I want to view the script, I can click on view script. The view script will help me to see the submission of each of the students, and I can see the questions that they missed. So if I've seen that a student missed a question on this, even as a teacher, aside from the AI tool, I can also send maybe a video to that student to watch, or I can upload a material for that student to watch. Or if I've seen that quite a number of my students missed a particular topic, then I can have a live class explaining that topic, or send them videos explaining that topic, or prepare a material in PDF or in PPT, PowerPoint, and share with my students to watch. Another very, very interesting thing, which I'm sure Edves clients want to hear now, is that when the CBT has marked my score, do I need to go and input the score manually on the gradebook? The answer is a capital no. So once the CBT has marked your score, or at a click of the button, you can tell the system to pick up all the scores and slot it on the grade on the result sheet of each student. So if I say for computer studies or for further math and I submit, the system will go and harvest all the scores for students offering further mathematics in that class and slot it into the load score online column for you. So with that, you are sure that I think this is the best experience teachers can have, where you only need to teach your students, give them assignments, give them a CBT test, they do the CBT test, the system marks it, and just at the click of the button, it slots in the scores on their result sheet. That's a very wonderful experience. I think everybody should be learning.
Okay, sir, in order to round off this section, there are 2 questions.
Okay.
Sorry, 3 questions that just came in from the audience. They are asking if teaching or online teaching or learning is applicable to nursery and early year classes, and how do you take the student on correction after making the homework? Lastly, what is the recommended maximum number of students for an online class, especially in lower primary and secondary classes?
Okay, so talking about the early years, I think their visual methods will work a lot for them. So the live classes is something I believe will work because my son now.
I think we have Dari breaking currently. Zainab, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that happens there, but we just have to find a way to intervene. I think on technology, it's so obvious that we all need to actually be committed to the use of technology. And one of the things we've done as a company is to ensure that we build things around what we already understand about the schools. And the system is built or around the school curriculum being practiced in this part of the world, in Africa and sub-Saharan Africa generally. And over the years, we've been able to perfect the system with the feedback from the schools, but we believe there's still a lot of way to go because technology keeps improving every day. And then to ensure that there is happiness in the face of every teacher that uses Edves every day. So we put a lot of resources together to ensure that this is done. Every day, we try to get feedback from schools, and then we make the system better. And I think if I'm going to add if there's anything that I need to add, if Dari cannot join us back clearly, is that
okay.
Okay? I think that is it back? Okay. I think the last thing I want to add to this is that the system is built with ability to support your school on exactly what you're doing to ensure that it is customized to suit what you do. So we don't assume we know what you do. We don't assume that we know the best thing for your school in terms of curriculum and pedagogy. So we listen to you to customize, and that's why it takes some time for us to get the customization done properly. But a few schools that are still on our board to ensure that, that we're still working to customize, we testify to this that it's not actually easy. But we have a large number of schools that we've customized successfully, which they are okay with what they're doing. And it's pretty good for us to continue to tread in this line, to listen to educators to ensure that the solution they have in their hand is actually what they want, as against what is going to be built, on a generic way. And I think this is one of the things that actually sets Edves apart from other solutions, maybe in the space of technology globally and even in Nigeria. So I don't know if there's any questions so that we can take up this session.
Okay.
Do you have any question I would like to answer?
To round up this, it's just one question left for Mr. Dari to answer.
So you can throw it to me. Let me see if I can answer it. Thank you.
Okay. They're asking what is the recommended maximum number of students for an online class, especially in lower primary and secondary classes?
Well, I don't know if Trisha is going to help us with this. One of the things we try to do is not to think we know it all. We still try to listen to experts in the area of education, but at least the one we've seen best practice so far is to actually have fewer number of students in the class, maybe between 5-10 students at a time. And then you try to watch and see their attention span as they move so that you can know what intervention to bring in. So Trisha is going to maybe start on this note, and she's taking learning science and a lot of the topic that has been a deep research. So Trisha is online, and let me just escape by passing it to Trisha, and then that takes us to the next session. So Trisha, you're welcome, and I will allow you to take the stage right away so that you can continue from here. Definitely, we might still allow Dari to come back to round up later if he can reconnect back. So we have Trisha online. Trisha, so Zainab, if you have a brief bio about Trisha, please read now. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. This is So everybody, I would like to invite Trisha Kalila, if I am right. Am I right? Okay, Trisha Kalila. She's the ED product of Partnership Director, Learner Variability Project, Digital Promise in Washington, D.C. She will be taking us on distant learning and learning science. So Trisha, can we have you please? Let's hear what your take is on the next curve regarding distant learning and learning science.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can hear
can.
you. You can just move close to
Excellent.
the camera, Ivy, so that we can see your beautiful face. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to see all of you. And yes, I'm going to share what we've learned about distance learning and learning sciences, and what the learning sciences tell us about preparing learners in the best way, given the circumstances we all share now. So we all are obviously globally connected with the same goals of helping our learners continue in an online environment, as all children around the world are now learning in that space. So what I was going to share with you today is what really matters. So what matters when you are designing learning experiences for the children of all ages, and what should we really be considering? And we've learned some really valuable lessons in the United States from all of this. The sudden change from classroom environments into the online space has really shifted a lot of people's thinking. There's been an incredible amount of learning. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. First thing, I'm going to break it down so that you know what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you the 9 things that matter the most.